Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. All right, and we are live. Hi, my name is Silent Stardust. I am the High Priest of Children of the Crossroads, and this is Threads of Wisdom. This week is our 29th week, and we'll get into which card it is, and we can do all the fun things. To let you know about Threads of Wisdom, it was created by the Golden Thread Grove in Idaho. It is a teaching tool for your year and a day pagan basics. Each week that you attend, you will receive an image of the topic we discussed. And the Golden Thread Grove has requested that these images not be distributed to anyone that does not participate in a discussion on a particular topic. At the end of the year, you will have 52 cards. I will show you. 52 cards. They can also be used as a divination tool, or what we call our Wicca decks, you know, Pokemon, all that good stuff. And we jokingly say, got to cast them all. So this week, as I said, is week number 29, and we will be talking about initiation. The picture, and I will go ahead and put it up on screen, and let's focus on it. And if anything of interest comes to your mind, please let us know. Bear with me 1 second, clicking all the wrong things. Can you guys see that?
No, I don't see anything.
There it is.
Oh, there it comes.
It takes a second to pop.
Yeah, it's being pokey. And I'll zoom in for us to get a better picture of it, better view. There we are. So when looking at that, what do you guys feel? What do you guys see?
I feel entering a palace, being bathed in the white light. That's what I see.
I see that he's in a pool of water, which is good because, you know, they say that water rules initiation and death and rebirth and all that jazz. So that makes sense. But it kind of does look like a Chinese temple, too.
Yeah, a little Shintoism.
Yep.
With the style of, yeah, on the style of the house and everything, the house of worship.
Yeah, I see a shrine, water, star. Makes me think of rebirth.
Yep, I can see that. Anyone else?
Yeah, I pretty much see the same thing. Entering a new phase or a new life, possibly.
What?
And, you know, just entering through, you know, a portal type entry.
Yeah, that's what I see is like, you know, stepping across the threshold.
Yeah.
I also found it like, I think Marcus did a really good job of getting what I was thinking. But I draw a connection between like the baptism rites.
Yep.
Because that renewal and the regeneration and rebirth.
What do you think of it? Because, you know, we think of baptism in the Christian sense, but what do you think of the different religions that are being represented here, the different faiths? Kind of how it's a universal concept, not just beholden to one.
See, I think that's what I like about it, because it's got the like Shinto, it's got the baptism thing, the star of illumination, and that sort of like that many paths up the mountain kind of thing, or all spirituality at the root is very, very similar.
Does anyone else besides myself notice that it's a male or someone identifying as male, it looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a masculine figure, and then I just kind of got the feeling of a door, and I don't know if that's because on the left there's like an extra light or a shadow. It just makes me feel like there's an open door there.
Yeah, like I see what you're meaning. Like I get the portal concept, like Marcus was saying. Like they've, you know, you've stepped through, and now
Step through to enlightenment.
It almost has a Stargate aspect to it in that sense. You guys remember that movie from the 90s or that show?
Oh yeah.
Yes, 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 and yes.
Yeah.
I really feel that, but I didn't
Yeah.
think of it till you said it.
But yeah, that's kind of what I just watched it the other night. Love that movie. But it would kind of give me that same feeling of that water aspect of it, where then it sucks back through, but it's a dry water. If that makes sense. All right, well, let's get back to the chat and see what else we can come up with and what the notes have to say about it. Let me stop sharing. Back together here. So the first thing it says is meeting a challenge or passing a test. So when you think of initiations, what does that tell you? Or what does it make you think of?
You have to do the work before you get the reward.
It's not a freebie.
No, it's not a freebie.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's always a path to walk.
Well, and for those of you that realize that you're doing is an initiatory path if you're trying to work your degrees. So you have to meet the challenge of initiation, getting started, and then elevating. You have to pass the test and meet the challenges that are present for when you're on the initiatory path. For the first one is this what you want to do? Whatever you're doing.
Well,
I
I
also-
mean, every initiation requires that train of thought. I mean, if you're going to enter into an initiation, you sort of have to be sure that that's where you want to be.
Danielle, you were talking?
I was gonna say that I thought it was interesting that you see in the card a doorway, but it's like there's a light behind, so there's a hint, because initiation isn't an ending, it's a beginning. It's a beginning and an ending in each other, but it's also the beginning of the rest of your journey, especially if you wanted to go up to a second or a third or any of the other degrees. So it's almost like there's a doorway illuminating behind the figure, like, yay, I've made it. Oh, wait.
Yep.
There's still more work.
There's always more work, and that's good. You should always be going forward, never getting stagnant.
And I find it interesting that you can see the reflection, because like you're always going to reflect on the path at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And like what Danielle was saying, I think it's interesting because each time that you elevate or you go to the next step, you're reaffirming that this is what you want to be doing. And it's the concept of going from an apprentice to a journeyman to a master, if you want to do in the crafts, the physical crafts, not the magical crafts. It's the same concept where and then you have to show that this is what you continue to want to do and that you're mastering and learning everything that you need to learn so that you can move to the next level.
There's initiatory paths in life as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There are different stages of life, and we all have a different path, but I think we can all look back and think, that was a point where a decision was made and the path of my life changed.
And like a rites of passage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I know this really isn't supposed to be question and answer type thing, but I was wondering on initiation like this, is it, are there initiations for each step as you progress to different levels or?
Well, and the initiation, I guess, yes, but I can't give too much detail out because each person's path is different, or in each group's elevation system is different. But yes, there's an initiation in the sense that you have shown that you're going are able to demonstrate the skills necessary to do the next step.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
You know when you and your teacher know when it's time. and
Okay.
every person's is different. There's the classic time frames of a year and a day, but I know very rarely does that actually happen truly to a year to the day and a day, because that's a lot of work to do each step along the way within such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah, and it's a different concept in time of how we live these days compared to when this was being done. A year and a day was a long time back then. You had time day in, day out to be doing all this stuff. In the modern world, we're not working on the farm all the time, not doing the day-to-day magic to, help keep us alive.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you fall off that path. And
Exactly.
there's like a 10-year hiatus before you get back on and go, continue on your path to where you're supposed to be going.
You just had some kudzu and other stuff grow across the path, and you just couldn't see it anymore.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah, it'd be nice if every path was straight. That's not how it works. The real level, no mud, no pits, no curves, no fallen trees, nothing. You just keep moseying along.
Wouldn't that be cool?
But you know what?
Isn't that kind of boring?
What are you going to learn along the way if you have no adversity?
Right.
And I mean, it's
Yeah,
fun to be
exactly.
on a straight path once in a while, but it gets kind of boring. Think
Yep.
about road trips if you end up in just on the freeway with no scenery.
Have you ever driven through Kansas or Nebraska or Iowa, and you can see the next 200 miles ahead of you every moment of the time?
Topeka.
That's kind of what I imagine it would look like. Hey, look, it's the same cornfield for as far as I can see, with
Do you
no
think that's why the
variation.
yellow brick road was in Kansas?
We have a yellow brick road here on Vancouver Island in BC. I followed it. I ended up in a place called Bamfield.
And what was Banfield like? I wanted to follow this story a little further.
Actually, it was very interesting. I traveled with my friend Pam. We had 2 ferrets with us. We'd gone for a daily drive. We saw the yellow brick road. We followed the yellow brick road. We saw another road. We turned left. We got lost. We found Bamfield. We had coffee in the restaurant in Bamfield and said we were lost, and they laughed at us and said we had no hope of getting back to civilization that day. And so we were taken to a party on a beach at the reserve, and we had a wonderful beach party. And then we went back and we stayed at a lady's house, which was very awesome. We had to snuggle together on like one cot. We didn't get a lot of sleep. In the morning, we went back to the hotel and had breakfast, and then drove most of the way back and got lost again. And then that's the story for another day.
Wow, that is.
I like that story. Now, is Banff and Banfield associated, or is it 2 completely different places?
Well,
It's its own little town in the middle. It's on the west coast of Vancouver Island.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's a very
ways
tiny
away.
town.
That's a cool little story. I like that.
Yep.
So the next thing they say on the notes here, because we're following other people's lead on this, they say a transcendence to a new consciousness.
Mm.
What is that? How does that make you think or feel?
So the star in the sky.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Celestine prophecy. It's kind of an old book from like the 1990s. I recently decided I was going to reread it because I was feeling called to do so. And it talks about your soul group. And so when I look at that star, that's kind of what I envision is that's your soul group kind of guiding you where you need to go and to help you realize what your purpose is. And so that's kind of what I see with that transcendence and knowing that there are people out there guiding you even when you don't know they're there.
Can you repeat the question, because I'm having a short-term memory loss moment and I forgot what you said.
It talks about transcendence to a new consciousness.
That can be a number of different things. Like that can be as simple as realizing that a figure of speech you use every day is actually racially prejudiced. And I mean, even that small realization and the effort to stop doing something like that is a transcendence of consciousness.
Yeah, and from the picture, it's like you're moving into new energy fields, and the water still has me a little bit thrown,
Well,
but
well,
I see it as maybe cleansing, the old ways as you approach.
when you're calling quarters, I don't know how you guys have done it, but when we do water, we call it death and initiation.
Mhm.
Ah,
So it's part of the West for us.
Yep.
Like an awakening, that's what you were going for? I forgot the.
Yeah, like an awakening. You step up, you level up.
Yep. And that's what it is I'm sure for it was anything how I or how it worked for me when I found the path. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? It's something that makes me feel comfortable, and it gets me excited, and it's a spiritualness that I have never experienced before. That's what awakening for me. And it did transcend to a new consciousness of like, hey, spirit, it's cool, I can do this, I want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crickets. Something else they have mentioned here is a transmission of power or a permanent change. um, I know, Zeta, when you leveled up, did you feel a transmission of power, or was that something that kind of was gradual for you?
Um, yes, both, because it was gradual, but then it was like there were some like switches that kind of opened up after different initiations or elevations and stuff. So,
And can I ask who here has been initiated into a coven at some point, or it understands what we're talking about when we say initiation into the path?
I have. I was initiated into Mary's Circle
Okay.
with the ATC many, many years ago, and I've been sorry, I muted myself. First year seminary with the ATC. So yes, I have been through a formal initiation.
yeah, I have not, but I have read different books and articles where they talk about the initiation into a coven, and also self-initiation, which is probably totally different.
Well, if you ever read Buckland's Big Blue Book, the whole
Yeah.
initiation is in there. You can see the formal ritual and everything. It's all spelled out for you.
Yeah.
Gypsy?
Yes, I have been initiated also. I am a Corellian,
Oh, awesome.
and I am in one of the temples inside the Corellian tradition, Temple of Asir. And when I first began, though, as a Corellian, I did a self-initiation. When I received my second degree initiation, my temple initiated me. So,
Very
and
cool.
I'm currently working on my third degree, which is the highest in the Corellian tradition. Yeah.
Are you? I'll ask this privately in another conversation. Um, Rena, Ariel, I know Ariel, you are interested in possibly going down that path.
Yes, I'm very interested in going down that path. But I would almost say that I kind of experienced that a little bit at the Spring Mysteries Festival when they do the adult affirmation of path.
Yep, that
I
is an
feel like
initiation. That is a form of initiation, 100%.
right? I feel like that maybe was part of it. So, but I've never been formally initiated. And yes, I'm currently hoping to be.
and Marcus had commented on it. You know, there's a you say a formal initiation, but you can initiate yourself. That you can do the ritual. You know, if you're a solitary practitioner, you can definitely do that and initiate yourself, and it's completely valid. So, you know, there's some people say, oh, you can only be in a formal coven for you really to do this. That's not true. I mean, it's just a different uh, way of working the magic and following the path.
Yes, absolutely agree with that. Self-initiation is very powerful and valid.
Yep. Well, Zeta, how long ago did you originally initiate yourself?
20. We were gonna go with like it's in the 20-ish year range. Shush over there. I don't need your 5 at the
Oh, don't want to age yourself. My God.
I'm like 14 or 15, I think.
Okay, so you're right. It's more like 26.
Yeah, I know. Shush.
Yep. So bring mysteries for you as well. Yep. The AOP is an excellent way if anyone's ever gone to it to do something on an initiatory path, and it's quite the experience. I had already initiated, yet I went and did that in person a few years back, and meant a lot to me. And then I actually went and redid it, even though I'd already gone through, so I could go with some coven mates, so I could see their experience.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the areas where, you know, it's, I wouldn't say lacking, but, you know, I spent 8 years studying Toltec shamanism. It's not really a religion, though. And they don't have the structure. Most of the teaching is one-on-one. And so they don't have initiations or anything like that.
Now, it's not a formal initiation, but I'm sure there's skills and techniques that you demonstrate that allow you to move forward. So,
yeah,
in the same sense,
that is true.
You've met the challenge or passed the test, or you transcended to a new level of consciousness, so you can do the next stage of the magic.
Yeah. Yep, that is true. And some things you either pass or die, so you don't. It's a little harsher.
Do they do like vision quests, kind of similar to some of the Native American traditions?
It's similar, but not quite the same. It's more, they're more focused on different levels of consciousness and awareness, and then manipulating and working with different forces and entities.
Do they use plant medicine in some of their?
They use, some of them use it. I didn't use it much, but it was, they use certain psychotropics in order to shift awareness into other levels. Just depends on the individual.
Cool.
But, you know, and there are healing, you know, herbs and different things.
You cut out.
Doing astral projections and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Shamanism's amazing, and it's such a cool concept. And, you know, there's a reason why the medicine man shaman has been around for as long as humans been around.
Right.
Yeah, I think the records go back like 50,000 years.
Wow.
But I thought everything started 2021 years ago.
You thought, huh?
Who's been tricking me this whole time? So, only other thing they have put up here as another concept is rebirth, or leaving the old behind. So the shedding of the skin, molting.
Yeah, I can see where you're letting go of old patterns or beliefs and moving into something more enlightened.
Yep.
You know, to light your path.
Well, it's almost like the concept of, you know, when you let something go that's been holding you back, when you finally release it, you can step forward and, you know, allows you to get past the grief or the hurt or whatever ill was coming from it.
Well, then I would have to say that prison is an initiatory experience, at
Well,
least for
I would have to think so, because you know what? That is
me.
a part of life that had to make you change and learn and experience something that was not normal to you.
Right. I understand it may not be that
Change
way for
consciousness.
everyone, but yeah, it was definitely that way for me.
Hmm.
You know, and I think that was the intent of why when someone was sent to jail or prison, it was supposed to be a change of consciousness
Right.
to hope, habilitate you. Now, what's happened in the modern prison system, that's another discussion. But the original concepts was to make you reflect upon why why'd you do what you did, and do you want to be in this condition the rest of your life, or do you want to better yourself?
Right. How can I make a different choice next time when I'm faced with a similar circumstance?
Yeah, that's what we do in the craft. Instead of looking of like, I always have something bad happen to me, and always looking for the negative. You can change your mindset and say, you know what, this is a new opportunity for me to grow. I may not want to grow, but apparently I need to.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, if you're always looking for the bad, you're going to find it.
Yep. The shift in the consciousness. I think that transcendence to new consciousness really speaks to me for initiation.
Yeah.
So, anyone else have any other things that comes to them, or should we head on over to the tent and see Madame Zola? Rena, are you familiar with Madame Zola?
No.
So Madame Zola is a character that Lola has created for us that does the divination aspect of the card. So what we do is we go into her tent, and if we get this card in a one card reading, what it tells us how it affects our life and what we need to take what meaning from it to improve ourselves or explore. I guess maybe a better way of saying it, because it may not be an improvement of yourself. It just may be something that speaks to you in life right now. So I'm going to put it back on screen. And I'm also going to attach it in chat for those who want to download it. So bear with me 1 second here. So there we are. So you sit down at the table and Madame Zola pulls this. What does it mean to you?
Well, for me, it is a reminder that I have a task set before me by Hephaestus. I've got a pilgrimage I have to do when the border opens, and there are things that I still need to do in order to be able to do that. So it is a reminder to me that I need to get those things done so that I'm able to cross the border to complete my pilgrimage and get back on my path.
Well, Miracle, I'm sorry that our president is going a little bit slower than your president on reopening the border, but soon you'll be able to come down here.
I think for me, the card would symbolize change, walking into a new way of being, a new way of thinking. Initiating into a new way of life, a new way of thinking, and leave the old behind and walk forward into the new.
Yeah, I think if I pulled that card, it would be a sign that I'm ready to commit to what I vacillated about before.
Yep. You're taking that step. You've gone through that.
That's the next step. It's time.
Anyone else?
I think for me, it would tell me to keep doing what I'm doing, since that's something I'm currently working towards. So it would tell me, it would kind of like reaffirm that you're doing what you need to do, just keep doing it. So
Excellent. For me, when I look at it, what it tells me is that, it's good to bathe in the light of goddess or deity, and, that we can help make that shine as well. And to remember that we can be the star, we can be the beacon if you're willing to do the work.
I would agree on the we can be the beacon, and I would say that it also goes along with examine your current habits and thought patterns, and it's time to let the ones that are ineffective fall away so that you can introduce new ones that will be more effective and serve you better on your current path.
Now, was everyone able to download the picture?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got it down.
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I did a screen capture on it. I can never download it from the chat.
Well, no worries. Marcus, if we need to email it to you, we have your info. I'll make sure Lola gets it sent over to you.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Abrina, what happens is some people sometimes can't download it, so they just have them put their email in the chat, and then we email it to them so that they can work on their Wikidecks. Well, guys, do you have anything else you guys want to go over with initiation?
I just want to mention that I felt different afterwards, and that I felt it was a very powerful thing that happened.
Yeah.
That, it's something I can't even describe. It's yeah, I don't know. That's all I can say.
For me, I know what you're talking about. For me, it was almost like a different part of my brain activated that I didn't know I could use, and it's now gives me different interactions, and I'm able to glean more from them.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, new perceptions.
Yep. I like that. I really like that, because it is a different feeling afterwards. You're like, hell yes, I'm doing this, and I can appreciate that I'm doing this.
Like energized for it, yeah.
Exactly. And it can be a motivator. We can that kick in the pants that you need. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys all coming. I'm gonna go ahead and put up the fun part. Got to do the business side. Yay. Bear with me 1 second here. So, if we have helped facilitate a spiritual experience for you today, please consider donating to Children of the Crossroads ATC to help fund events like this. Your gifts of any amount are greatly appreciated, and donations may be tax deductible, as Children of the Crossroads ATC is a 501c3 nonprofit. And you can make your donations too. We have our PayPal and our Venmo listed. Definitely not required, but anything that we get is appreciated. Things cost money. But otherwise, I want to say thank you for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you and what you guys offer to these conversations. And I appreciate you guys coming back over and over and over again. It means a lot to us because it confirms to us that we're actually doing something helpful for the community.
And we appreciate you making this available to us too.
Right. Exactly.
Well,
Yes, definitely.
Look how many cool people that we've gotten to meet and interact with that none of us would ever have connected. And it was for something just as simple as, let's talk about cool witchy stuff.
For sure.
Hopefully I'll be able to something more.
I really love this deck. When I've got it all together, and I can't be here every week, but when I've got it all together, I actually think it's going to be a really easy deck to use for divination.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate the deck itself. It's really seems to be easy to use.
Yes.
Well, and the fact that we have a bunch of us who kind of give interpretation, I think makes that even more true as it being a better divination tool, because we've actually sat and discussed it and said, hey, this is what comes to mind. And it gives you the ability to look at things from a perspective maybe that's not always your own.
Yeah,
One of
exactly. And
One of my absolute favorite things about this, the discussions, the deck, the graphics, all of it is, yes, it's pagan year in a day basics. Yes, it's often done in a like Wiccan format, but like you can sit down and you can have people from multiple paths coming up with anything, and it's a common ground. Like, well, this is what I think that means. You know, it's really cool for that. It makes for great discussions.
Yep. And we hear all sorts of cool things that none of us had ever thought of, and we're like, whoa, hold on. And then we have to relook at everything. We're like, well, hold on. I'm going to be back in about 3 minutes while I go dive down this hole of what the fuck did you just open up?
Yeah, I'm a Toltec shaman, and I learn something every single meeting. Because it's different perspective.
I see your hand, Miracle.
I find that doing it like this encourages you to actually look at the card and focus on the picture, on the graphic, and the nuances of the picture on the card. Whereas when you just buy a deck and you're like, ooh, I want to do tarot, you grab it, you pull out that little book, right? And you're always flipping through that book and you're trying to memorize that book and trying to, commit that stuff to memory. And I think that this reminds you to look at the card and to actually read the card itself and its meaning.
See, when I do readings, I don't like the book. I'm all interpretive. What does this card say to me with this person sitting across from me, or for myself personally when I'm doing a reading for myself? I think that there's value in knowing what they generally mean, but I really think it's more of how does it relate to that situation.
Yeah, I really think that the book, doing this has opened my mind to the fact that the book is just kind of like, it's just meant to be a reference.
Yeah.
You glance at the book, but you should be looking at the card and you should be feeling the person that you're doing the reading for.
Awesome, guys. Well, we're just about to our time, and Lola and I do have an episode of Witches and Wine we got to record after this, so gonna have to get the house flipped over to the next show. So I look forward. Everyone can be here next week. We'll be week 30, and we'll be talking about chords. It's a cool concept after initiation because chords have a lot of representative value. So I look forward to seeing each and every one of you if you're able to make it. If not, you can see our recording on our channel, our YouTube channel for Children of the Crossroads. So you can always catch up on previous episodes, but maybe not get the card. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now.